Okay, so here we are on a Sunday evening. I'm approaching the 2,000 mile mark on the bike. I missed the 1901 mark on the FTR. The Indian has a deal where they basically give you a beer glass and a few other things for when you hit the 1,901 mile mark because they started in 1901. But I missed it on this morning's ride. A buddy of mine and me, we went out to Canton, Texas, to the Dairy Palace, grabbed some breakfast. I'm a big fan of that place. They got bison burgers, elk burgers, and whatnot, and I like all that kind of meat as opposed to beef. So I went out there and got me a bison breakfast burger. I am using the Indian Ride Command app, so I did record that ride and I posted it to the community. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and you're an Indian rider and you use that map, check it out. I encourage you. Today I'm really just going to talk about some observations and experiences and whatnot with what I'm having with my FTR. It's a really great bike. I really love this bike. The power is awesome. If the rear seat didn't have that ridge in it to catch your butt, the bike would run out from underneath me with all the torque that it has in it, with 87 pounds of torque. It's massive. I get into a debate with a buddy of mine that rides an MT10. The MT stands for Master of Torque, Yamaha product. But this bike actually has more torque than his. However, it weighs about 50 to 60 pounds more than his does, and he has about 38 to 40 more horsepower than this bike does. Now, this bike, the FTR, it has a limit to run. It will not go past 135 or 7,500 RPMs when it redlines at 9,000. And when you're in the low gear and you're riding it, you can feel the command in the surge, the command in the ECU gives it these weird surges. It's not constant. You can't hit like a one speed and hold it there. It'll surge, let up and pick up, let up and pick up. And I was experiencing that mostly in the low RPM range. So today, when I was riding, we were cruising with traffic, keeping up with traffic. Traffic was moving at about 95 today, being a Sunday. And so I set my cruise control to 95, and while it was in cruise control, I could feel it doing that same thing. So the factory ECU program is defective, to say the least. And Indian knows this. As I was looking at DynoJet and possibly doing a DynoJet tune on it to correct those issues, and come to find out the Indian dealership that I bought my bike from is a DynoJet dealer. So I did go down there and talk to them about it, and they're like, yeah, you can do a tune, it won't void the warranty or anything. So that tells me they're aware that their stock ECU program is defective. And I don't know if it's to make more money, because it's I got an estimate of $1,100 to do a tune on this. Now I know from DynoJet I can buy the unit myself for about $500 after tax and shipping. Then you get your licenses to do the tune, which is an additional $230, which is all downloaded off the internet, so there's no shipping on that. However, that puts me at about $750 price range. Like I said, I got an estimate of $1,100 from Indian to do the tune. So I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not too terribly impressed that they know that their factory tunes are defective and that they're offering an alternate tune instead of that, at a marked up price like that. seems to me like they should go ahead and just make the tune right to begin with. That's one thing. Other than that, though, I mean, I'm really enjoying this bike. I'm really having fun. I've had it for just under 1 month now. My first payment just now came in. I can't get enough of it. I can't say enough about it. There are a couple of things that I wished were better, but I think that's, you're going to experience that with no matter what manufacturer you go to, no matter what bike you get. That's just going to be the deal on that. So, recommend going to Canton, checking that out. I recommend you, if you're an Indian rider, especially an FTR rider, checking out the Ride Command app. It's a pretty good app. I used to use Scenic, but I deleted it because it actually logs and tracks your max speed, which is not ideal. So the Indian one, it just logs your average speed. So I'm a big fan of that. It does have a 3D flyover where it'll actually give you a map view and track your ride from, say a helicopter per se, and it'll show you what you do, and when you speed up, it speeds up as well. When you slow down, it slows down as well. It's pretty neat. I'm a big fan of it right now at this point. I've only used it twice. Today was like the first actual good ride that I went on. We put over 200 miles going out to Canton and back. Like I said, I missed my 1901 mileage marker because when you're traveling in traffic at that kind of rate of speed, I'm more focused on what's going on in front of me than what my dash is telling me. The other thing that was pretty interesting today too in today's ride is that came across an Outcast MC Club biker riding solo out of Arkansas, according to his patches on his jacket. If you're a new rider, there are protocols and courtesies that are expected when you come across these kind of guys in these motorcycle clubs. First and foremost is you're not supposed to pass them without them granting you permission. Thankfully, when we were riding up and come up on this guy, he wanted to come over, so I let him come in front of me. After we got past a few cars, he got over and he gave us the hand signal, which was his approval to go ahead and pass him, which allowed us to give him the proper respects. So if you're a new rider, that is something that you should be aware of. That these guys wearing these patches and these jackets in these motorcycle clubs, they take offense to that kind of behavior on the road. And I've actually seen videos where motorcycle clubs are kicking bikes that are passing them without getting permission, trying to crash them out. So again, if you're a new rider, be aware of that. And that is something that you need to pay attention to, along with all the other idiots that are out there on the road. And I say that because every time I go on a ride, there's somebody that tries to come out in front of me. Just today, every time, and today it happened early. As soon as I got on the highway, there was a car in the second lane from the right, away from the exit, and I was passing him on the right side because that right side lane was open. And about the same time I get parallel to him, he decides he wants to change lanes and catch an exit that's coming up that he's about to miss. Thankfully I was moving fast enough and got past him where it wasn't a problem. He cut across that lane and hit the exit. So without even seeing me until I was right there next to him. So, that's another thing too to be aware of if you're a new rider. So I really don't have that much, to go for today. I am actually looking at getting a grill protector now. I have, even though I've only got 2,000 miles on it, this thing has an oil cooler and a radiator cooler. The oil cooler, however, is protected. The radiator cooler is not. And I've already got a dent peg on mine, so you know what that equates to as far as loss of coolant capacity, 0.05%, 0.005%. It's not noticeable. This bike does run at a lower temperature. The Japanese bike that I had before this, the fan wouldn't even come on until it hit 220 plus degrees. This fan comes on at 200 to 205, so it's not running at the higher temperatures. And when you're in motion, it regulates its temperature at about 176 to 178. I did go for a ride the other day when it was over 100 degrees here in Texas, and the riding temperature was at 180, which I feel much better about. I didn't like that about the Japanese bike. The buddy on the MT10 that I ride with, he's always complaining about how his bike overheats, especially when we're sitting still or we're not moving, and then it wants to start shutting down. That's because the tune doesn't call for the fan to come on until it's at 220 plus degrees, which is just ridiculous. I mean, that may make sense in Japan because they're further north. They don't have the heat issues that we have here, especially in Texas. So I don't get that. The only way to get around that is to do a tune to flash your ECU. But the Japanese, apparently, if you do that, it voids the manufacturer's warranty. Whereas when I spoke to Indian about the tune, I was advised that it doesn't void the manufacturer's warranty, which tells me that they're very much aware of it, and it kind of makes me wonder again if that's just not a marketing ploy to get more money. I don't know. It's just speculation, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, I guess that's about all I got today. Next week, hopefully that radiator cover will come in. I might probably do a little bit of video on that. Maybe talk some more about riding the bike, the features, what it does, my experiences with it. Thus far, though, I'm very, very happy with it. It's definitely a looker bike. I've had many people come up to me already and ask me, like, what kind of Indian is this? I have to explain to them that it's a flat track race bike. It's not a cruiser. It's not a bagger. It's none of that. The foot positions are rearward, and it's got dual front brakes, which are all indicative of a race bike and not a cruising bike. Most cruisers, if you go in and check them out, your foot position is forward. You have a single disc brake on the front, a single disc brake on the back, because they're just not designed, to do those kind of speeds and to brake at those kind of speeds. So, with all that said, video is running long. I don't like making long videos, so I'm about to go ahead and kill this one. I don't go on YouTube to try to watch a sitcom, and it seems like all the videos now are 20-30 minutes long, and I don't watch them. Yami Noob, Spike's Corner, Whitney Does, Dan the Fireman, all of those guys I watch. I like them. I love them all. But your videos are just too long, guys. Cut it down. Alright, with that, I'm going to call this one for today.